Trump mentioning the Daily Mail reporting from 2020 that Ilhan Omar married her brother to get into the country. This was last week. Take a listen.
Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. They're taking billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother.
You work all day. You don't got. Thank you for working so hard so I can be home all day, free. I can use my EBT. Go to work for me, white boy, white girl. Yeah, go to work for me, you fucking white animals. Work for me. Yeah, you fucking work for me. And the U.S. government they work for me. All of you work for me. Now go to work. Pay them taxes. Take care of me.
Donald Trump ordered an investigation into Ilhan Omar's immigration fraud by marrying her brother, and the findings aren't looking too good for our Somali welfare queen. Ilhan Omar's time in the United States is coming to an end, and she's getting more desperate as she feels the walls close around her. And in a last-ditch failed attempt to divert the public's attention, she lied about ICE arresting her son, only to be confronted on CNN about that lie. As always, like the video and subscribe to the channel, but let's start with the clip that will definitely make your blood boil.
You work all day, you don't got. Thank you for working so hard so I can be home all day, free. I can use my EBT. Go to work for me, white boy, white girl. Yeah, go to work for me, you fucking white animals. Work for me. Yeah, you can work for me. And the U.S. government they work for me. All of you work for me. Now go to work. Pay them taxes. Take care of me and my people. All right? This is my land. I control this place. This is my reality. You all gonna be enchained. I'm gonna lock all you guys up if you don't pay your taxes.
These people hate America because it's everything Somalia isn't. They hate our prosperity, they hate our freedom, they hate our abundance, they hate our generosity. They hate that they have to live here to experience civilization and safety, something that is inconceivable back in Somalia. As Ilhan Omar states quite frequently, she sees Somalia as her home. She sees the president of Somalia as her president. She represents the interests of Somalia. She dreams of living back there and raising her children and grandchildren there. They have no interest in adopting our values of assimilating into our culture. They want to be completely Somali from the safety and comfort of Minnesota. And they absolutely loathe that in order for them to experience being Somali while simultaneously being safe, they have to live in a completely different country. And so, to spite us, they publicly taunt that they're taking advantage of our welfare programs and they feel entitled to it. I'll never understand why American immigration policy changed to prioritizing and favoring people from dangerous, destabilized nations who hate us, whose cultures are incapable of constructing anything that resembles a civilized nation, and who immediately require welfare benefits to survive the day they get here and never get off of them. But an old news clip surfaced from 2016 showing Ilhan Omar only 2 days after first being elected to Congress, displaying that she is unapologetically Somalia first. Watch this.
Election night was just 2 days ago, but it seems Minnesota Representative-elect Ilhan Omar may have already made her first move as an elected official. In a letter signed November 8th, Omar asks a U.S. district judge for compassion when sentencing 9 Minnesota Somali American men convicted of trying to join the terrorist group ISIS. She says the best deterrent to fanaticism is a system of compassion. We must alter our attitude and approach if we truly want to affect change. We should refocus our efforts on inclusion and rehabilitation. But she's not the only one. 13 letters, including one from the Dean of Students at Minneapolis Public Schools, were also sent to the judge asking for leniency. Osman Sheikh Yusuf says, I truly am honored to call Abdi Rahman my friend, and I hope that good things happen to this wonderful young man who totally deserves a second chance in life.
So her first act after being elected to the United States House of Representatives wasn't to show loyalty to America by telling the judge to throw the book at these guys. Make a public display that you will not tolerate anti-American radicalism from within your own community. But instead, she protects them and excuses their behavior in the name of compassion and inclusivity. It's no different from when a Somali man raped a 12-year-old in Minneapolis and then his mosque sent a letter to the judge saying she should offer him leniency and understanding because of cultural incompatibility. He shouldn't be held accountable because he had no idea of knowing that wasn't okay to do to a 12-year-old. The only reason they tolerate living in America despite hating us is because they can rob our welfare systems blind and send the money back to Somalia and also engage in activities that would spark clan wars back home in Somalia, but here they get protected by white liberal guilt and suicidal empathy. But the jig is up. Americans are tired of the blatant disrespect, the lack of appreciation and gratitude, and so Donald Trump ordered an investigation into Ilhan Omar marrying her brother to circumvent immigration processes. And here is tomhoman reporting that those findings showed she is definitely guilty.
Trump mentioning the Daily Mail reporting from 2020 that Ilhan Omar married her brother to get into the country. This was last week. Take a listen.
Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud.
Calls that a fraud. It's a story that has never been successfully refuted, even though it's now a 5-year-old story. That's clearly a deportable offense. Is there an investigation into that?
You know, I just got advised by a fraud investigator the other day on that. I asked the question, who reviewed the file, and says, there was immigration fraud involved. The statute of limitations became an issue in the last 4 years when this was first brought up. Who was president? Who ran DOJ? So pulling the records now, pulling the files, and we're looking at it, but this fraud investigator, who I know personally, one of the best fraud investigators in HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, said there's no doubt he reviewed the file. So
Ilhan is guilty, but the problem here is statute of limitation. But in New York, they pulled some legal wizardry to circumvent statute of limitations for their kangaroo court against Donald Trump. So I want them to do the same thing here with Ilhan Omar. There is no way as a serious country we can allow a sitting Congress member who is a foreign national to engage in immigration fraud and say, oh, well, it's been too long, so there's nothing we can do about it. The American system of justice only works if people respect it and trust it. You can set up a government based around the American Constitution in any failed government across the world. But time and time again, they fail because their cultures don't respect the rule of law and civility. And when those same people come here and bring their cultures here, they take advantage of it and manipulate it because they don't have the same historical appreciation for it that we do.
For having me. There are much deeper issues. I've moved into the U.S. And in Maine about 11 years ago, and basically the first question that members of my community asked me which tribe, I belong to, and when I mentioned, so I fell into that category. So there's a deeper tribal rivalry going on in the community, much larger than anybody can actually imagine. And then interestingly enough, even though I spoke very good English, one of the things that I was told to do is go find a discounted housing Section 8, which I didn't know what actually it was, and sign up for all the other community benefits within the government or the state. And my response was, I'm actually here to work and build, basic and become part of the American fabric, which is pretty much what I've been working on for a while.
I'm incredibly fascinated by what you're having to say, so much so that I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just want to clarify. So when you felt that pressure and you were told to go join, public welfare programs once you moved here, where was that pressure coming from? Are you saying it's like cultural, like neighborhood, like neighbors telling you this is what you should do? How were you pushed in that direction?
Well, it was coming from the community that actually thought that that was just a way of life, right? Instead of being asked about what kind of school I want to go to, what subjects I would love to study, and those interesting conversations weren't there at all. And my response was, can we do better things? Can we as a community actually integrate? And let's listen to that word, interestingly, because that had got me a huge backlash. This is many, many years ago that many people thought, no, let's not talk about integration. And I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't ready for a pushback against this idea of sort of melting into America, becoming part of America. And
right.
Let's just be very clear that I haven't arrived here as a young man. I mean, I came here at age 29, so I was well informed about my culture and my community growing up in the civil war in Somalia.
Incredibly, you're telling me you not only were discouraged from integrating into America, but you were also encouraged to stick to your tribal allegiances from back in Somalia, and those tribal allegiances and divisions remain here in America. That stat I showed, I'm curious, Abdi, about the percentage of the Somali population on some form of welfare, 80%, and stays that way over a 10-year period. Does that surprise you?
In some ways, it does not. Let me give you one example here. When I was in Somalia, a huge part of the population in Somalia, we're talking about 20 million people in Somalia, a huge number of that depended on $100 that family members in the U.S. sent back home. So there was not a lot of work to rebuild the country or get to work or, just basically building things. So this whole idea of receiving things the easy way has unfortunately actually evolved and became part of our way of life.
Liberals have this childish, fanciful, cartoonish view of the world that everybody is exactly the same. Everybody wants the same things. Borders, culture, sovereignty, these are all social constructs that get in the way of a global utopia. That America would be exactly the same if you replaced all the people with South Americans or Africans or Middle Easterners. They don't believe the American way of life is the best because as a people, we've agreed that it is and we want to preserve it. They think it's a self-evident truth that all 8 billion people on planet Earth agree on. And so we should allow anybody from any place into our country because they'll be such a great addition. But would you guess that just the other day, a high-profile member of the Somali community with ties to both Ilhan Omar and Tim Walz was arrested by ICE because he was a criminal?
All right, this news just breaking moments ago. Fox News has obtained photos of one of the Somali illegal immigrants wrapped up in the Minnesota fraud scandal, posing with several high-profile Minnesota Democrats, including Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and Governor Tim Walz. The man pictured is Abdul Dahir Ibrahim. He entered the country in 2000 and has had an order for removal since 2004. He also has a prior conviction in Canada for asylum and welfare fraud. ICE tells Fox News Ibrahim was granted temporary protected status for 10 years, but should have never been eligible.
This is the reason Americans are blaming the Somali community broadly. For starters, 81% of them are on welfare. So at just a very base level, the vast majority of them are not contributing to society and are net drains. And the 19% who aren't on welfare are the business leaders, the community leaders. And they're the ones who are engaging in the more sophisticated, high-level billion-dollar fraud scams. These are supposed to be the cream of the crop of the Somali community, the best that they have to offer. 35 to 50% of Somalia's GDP is remittances sent from the United States. And that means it's not coming from just a handful of Somalis. I bet if you polled the entire Somali diaspora in the United States, 100% of them send remittance back to Somalia. And that's because they all share the same goal. They're all working to the same ends. The ones who are engaging in the billion-dollar scam of autism program and food programs for kids are doing it on behalf of the entire community to get even more money to send back to Somalia. The $500 million just from the autism scam involved Somali families fraudulently signing up their kids for autism tourism services and receiving a kickback. It wasn't just a handful of people who participated to rack up a $500 million scam. The people who are their best and brightest were involved because they were opening up these fraudulent clinics, and the community at large was involved because they were signing up their children. And that's why a Minnesota whistleblower said, by time this investigation is all done, it won't be $1 billion. It won't be $2 billion. It's going to be more like $8 billion stolen. Take a look.
Fraud investigators are finding in Minnesota is growing by the day. Kelly Loeffler, who leads the Small Business Administration, says in the 2 days her agency has been investigating the state, they've uncovered at least $1 million in PPP fraud just 2 days in. Several of the whistleblowers in Minnesota have also told lawmakers they believe the total amount of fraud could total up to more than $8 billion.
So the Somali community likely stole $8 billion in the last 4 or 5 years. Coincidentally, at the same time, Ilhan Omar's net worth increased from $60,000 to $30 million, making Nancy Pelosi's personal enrichment look like child's play. And it goes without saying, yet I say it in every single video like this: America is not perfect. We have our own scammers. We have our own criminals. We have our own fraudsters. We have our own child predators. My point is, why are we importing people from places where the chance of adding another person like that are very, very high? But because the Somali fatigue is spreading rapidly through America and the severity of this Somali fraud is getting worse, Ilhan Omar tried to garner some public sympathy by claiming her son was unjustifiably arrested by ICE, only for the lie to blow up in her face as it was revealed he was arrested by Minneapolis PD for speeding. And she got called out by Wolf Blitzer on CNN for this lie.
The Department of Homeland Security says, and I'm quoting them, ICE has absolutely zero record of its officers or agents pulling over Congresswoman Omar's son, and have accused you of seeking to, quote, demonize ICE as part of a PR stunt, their words. What do you say to that?
Well, if ICE is saying that they have documentation of every single person that they have pulled over in Minneapolis, we would love to see that record, because we've certainly, myself and the governor, have been asking them to share information with us on the ways in which they have interacted with Minnesotans, and they have not been able to provide a single information. So it is amazing that they're able to put out this statement saying definitely that they did not pull my son over when they haven't been able to answer anything else. And ICE has been known to lie when it comes to their enforcement.
I know.
Here's the deal, Ilhan. If the United States is so bad, it's so unfair, we're so intolerant, we're just picking on the Somali people, why don't you go back to Somalia? You brag about calling the president of Somalia your uncle and he calls you his little girl. You should have no problem going back to your home country where you'll be celebrated and hailed as a hero of the Somali people. We're so vile, we're so racist. Why would you want to be here? If you live in a country that you're not from, yet you hate it, it is perfectly reasonable then that we are suspicious of your intentions here. If ICE is now targeting your family as you claim they did, why in the world would you want to stay? If this is a white supremacist country and this is 1930s Germany, why wouldn't you want to get out before it's too late? It's because you like being Somali in a first world country. You don't want to be Somali back in actual Somalia. If you guys are such a hardworking, productive, ingenious people, doctors, engineers, politicians, why not go back to Somalia with your 8 billion stolen US dollars and build your home country that you love so much into a functioning society? Why are you giving up on your people, Ilhan? Is it because even you know your culture is backwards and primitive and incapable of building anything meaningful, despite being located in the middle of one of the world's most important shipping lanes? Is it because your culture's maximum potential is petty piracy on the rest of the civilized world? They have to find a way to try her for immigration fraud. They need to kick her from Congress borders, denaturalize her, deport her back to Somalia, and send a message that the Somali community no longer has the political protection to engage in widespread fraud of the American people. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Turn on those notification bells so you never miss a video. And I will see you guys in the next one.
When it's time to go, you can choose how. You can wait for enforcement, or you can leave on your terms. The CBP Home app lets you self-deport with dignity, directly and securely. Don't wait. Decide how it ends.
Crying harder, crying harder. Trump is your president. Crying harder, crying harder. Trump is your president.
On the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" exclamation point, catch exclamation point.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core.
Hey, let me shut down the city! We are at war!
We're in a war right now.
We are at war.
So you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
And that's why the gloves are off.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
And yes, there are many threats to democracy. We see it with these extreme candidates.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
You can only push people so far, and then they start to take matters into their own hands.
What the American public want is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight.
You know, this is literally call to arms.
The MAGA movement is a threat.
But Michelle says that, when they go low, we go high.
No. With all due respect, if they go low, we don't go high.
When they go low, we kick them.
We take them to the mud and choke them out.
And make sure that they stay down. And you know what? Kick them when they're down, because they deserve it.
Get up in the face of some Congress people.
We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your...
We have to fight this in the streets.
We're going to fight it in the streets.
It's time to step out of your comfort zone and step out into the streets.
To our Republican colleagues, if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist! You and your little friend off of Twitter. Y'all about to find out.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
He's not going to have a third term. He may not finish his term.
Yes, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. Just saying. There will be news sometime. Just so you know, there will be news.
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. Most important thing is my faith in my life.
But if you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay, too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.